Okay, aloha mai kākou. O A'ia'i keia. O kia no kākou apau. He mana o iki. O'u e pili ana I ka pule. Me ka mea maʻamau makemake au e hoʻomaka me ka pule. Yeah. So, early on in my studies of chant, I came across a pule that is called Pule no ke la me ke ia la, a prayer for every day. And it goes like this. E o mau kia I me ka po mai na ia mai ka lea ka ku mai luna lalo mai ka hiki ka hiki mai ka hiki na ke komohana mai ka uka ke kai mai loko a waho kia I ia ma mai ia e pale aku I na ho'opili kia na ko ka ko no hona mama wa no. And I thought, how cool. We need to pray every single day. This is the prayer that you say every single day. And through the years, I have also adapted it to say, Inana ia mai kahana a kako when we are doing a particular project. You know? But basically, it's that need to pray. And the word in Hawaiian, if you don't know it yet, is pule. And pule, that is my job. My job is to bring light up to the world. And I have a threefold mission. And one of them is to bring light through prayer and ceremony. So I wanted to talk a little bit about pule. And, you know, I am LDS, and I am Christian, but I'm also Hawaiian. And so my understanding of pule comes from a combination of things and from life itself. You know, I understand pule to be a communication between man and God. I also know that it's a communication with our kupuna, our ancestors who have gone before us, our aumakua, and the pantheon of Hawaiian akua that existed before. Now, you know, in recent years, Aunty A'ia'i has defined and identified our akua more as associated with the elements. And for me, that works too. But I also acknowledge them as akua. We are so limited in our vision. And just in looking around at the diversity of our lives and the people around us, all the things that we don't know. To have any one single anything is not possible. But to have a one single something that has multi-million, zillion, exponential numbers of facets and aspects, yes. And for me, that's who I believe God is. That it does encompass everything, you know. And so pule is that communication with our higher self. It's the communication with those who dwell in other realms. It's the communication with the divine. And as humans, we're 99% spirit and 1% human physical body clothes. But yet we act like it's the other way around. And so when we pray, it's such a good place to be, because we are acknowledging that other 99% of our being. And what we get in exchange is incredible. So, you know, that prayer said, pray for every day, right? Ke la me ke ia la. So, that tells us already, when do we pray? All the time. You know, and there's that phrase that says, always carry a prayer in your heart. Um, you can pray anytime. There's formal prayer. There's informal prayer. There's set prayers. For some of you, that might be a Our Father or a Hail Mary or a E La Ua Ua Lama Lama. But there is a need to always pray. And that is my role. And so because I do it so much, I'm getting better and better at it. But so who should pray? Everybody should pray. When should we pray? We should pray all the time. You know? Where should we pray? If we pray all the time, it's wherever you are, you're praying. And how should we pray? Some people have formulas. You know, there's a little formula you follow when you pray, because it's because you're communicating with somebody. You at least want to call out to the person you're talking to, right? I'm not going to just start talking over here and then people think, oh yeah, she's talking to herself. You know, so you call out to the person who you pray. And then you tell them what it is. But I was always taught that before you ask, you acknowledge and you stand in gratitude. And because what that does, it will bring you to a point of humility. And that humility is what allows us to be on even ground with Akua, or the Omakua, or Nakua, even with our ancestors. Because that humility takes away an emphasis on this physical material world, and it acknowledges spirit. It acknowledges that there are other things. It acknowledges that there are things greater than us. It acknowledges our limitations. So when we do that, now we're on even terms. You know, there is a pule to put everybody on the same level in order to communicate, yeah. That's the one, Okahi Kapo, Lua Kapo. And what it is that, you know, whenever you have any kind of strata in society, you don't always speak directly to the ones on top. You got to come to a place of common ground where you can both interact. And it has to do with energy. Yeah. You cannot bring an high energy and a low energy thing and think that they're automatically they're gonna clash. So we got to come to a space where both kinds of energies can exist in the same place. And as long as we're in our human form in this kino, we are limited. And that's why we're working so hard to bring in the light and to elevate our own personal vibration. But you know, prayer is unique, because as we pray, we transform. As we pray, when we pray, over long periods of time, we elevate our vibration. There are a lot of people who fast and pray at the same time. And again, it's to take away the emphasis from the material, to allow ourselves to be totally immersed in spirit. And it's not easy to do that. You know, we had ceremony yesterday, and people are like, oh, they're tired and they're dehydrated because they're not used to being in that high level energy. When I'm at Sundance in Canada, same kind of thing. The first time we had a live tree, everybody was exhibiting all these symptoms of like insolation, too much sun, and it was because of that overload of energy. And so my advice to them, oh no, you're not sick, everything's fine. They come to the medicine lodge, and so I would send them away from the main arbor and tell them just drink water for a while. You know, because your body is not used to being in that high level vibration. But when we are constantly in prayer, over time, it increases our vibration. So that's a plus. Yeah. It also keeps our thoughts directed so that we don't get distracted from things that are not important. That's one of the biggest trials and names of the game here on this planet, is how distracted can you be by things that are only of this life, and what is really important and what is not important. You know? It also solidifies our relationship with the divine. You know, If you never talk to them, it's like a phone. I used to tell the youth this in church. You know, and you dial 1-800-prayer. And you know how when you talk to your friends, they answer the phone. They don't even need to say who they are. You recognize their voice and everything. But if you never pray, they might not recognize your voice right away. And one good example is when I learned to call the rain. First couple of times the rain didn't come. But the energy started to move and I could feel it. Then after I did it for a while, now the rain always comes when I call. And that's not a miracle thing. What it was me fine-tuning the vibration, like when you turn the radio station and it's almost, but you get all the static. But you can hear them in the background. And our kupuna knew this. That's why they could pray a pig to death. That's why they could bring people back to life. That's why they could move things and do things that don't seem normally human possible. Because they knew how to access that 99% of themselves that is the spirit. And spirit can do anything. So just think of our potential as we pray and what we can do. So as I said before, prayer over a long period of time elevates vibration. It will elevate our vibration because it will begin to help the energy to flow again. Diseases, illness, negative behaviors, thoughts, actions, those all disrupt the natural flow of energy in our lives, both on the physical and spiritual level. And so through prayer, we can help to get that energy flowing the right path again. And so that's why it's important. And the other thing is that to have ongoing, immediate access to God or to the elements or just to your grandma who passed away. When you don't know what to do, or you're faced with a dilemma, or things don't seem to be going the right way, or the powers that be keep making these stupid decisions for our Mona, we need to resort to prayer. We've gone through legal processes and see that they haven't worked. We see the corruption in those institutions, even in the UH. And it's so sad because they happen to have a Hawaiian Studies program that is fabulous. And for me, I really feel for the people that walk that line because they're in both and they have to deal with that. I think they're very courageous to do that. But we need to pray. We need to pray for our enemies, that they will see, literally that they will see the light. We cannot continue to stand here and criticize and get angry. The anger goes nowhere. The criticism, kind of out there, but we got to vent every now and then. But how can we do constructive actions that will help us? And if not immediately, in the long run, it is through Pule. One of my big roles with the whole Mauna has been to Pule. I Pule for the Mauna. I Pule for the people in the powers that make those decisions, that give permits. But so much of my prayer has been for the petitioners who have given their life, who have suffered all kinds of and gone without all kinds of things in their life and given up so much, a part of what would have been their, quote, normal life as they become petitioners for the Mona. And I believe that every single one of them are not moving on their own accord. They were moving because they were prompted or inspired by their kupuna and by all of our amakua. Everyone who has passed through this land, everyone who has lived on this land. And, you know, my prayer also that I always carry is that they remember that they're not alone. That it's these very kupuna who inspired them to fill out the paperwork and do the petition that are standing by them. But, you know, again, I want to reach out, and I'm not going to name names because I know I'm going to miss people, you know, but I feel that how can I not support them, because they are fighting to take care of me. I am Haumea. The Mauna is Haumea. As Wahine, we are all Haumea. And so as these petitioners have come forward and given up and sacrificed so much for our well-being, we need to also be doing our part to support. And the thing that I do know how to do is pray. So I know there are a lot of you out there who might feel bad that you cannot get up on the Mauna, that you weren't there when everything happened. There's so many ways to support. From material things, you know, buying t-shirts, you know. It's so amazing that money doesn't really end up in anybody's pocket. Almost all of it gets reinvested either into the Mauna Kea Defense Fund, or for efforts, or to pay lawyers, or to pay these things. And it's like, you know, we can all give a little, and we can also give until it hurts. But there's one thing that, you know, finances are hard on everyone, but prayer is free. It's totally free, and you can do as much of it as you want. And you know, I often talk about that in our women's circles, or like when the hurricanes have come, I'm trying to give instruction as to why, you know, or what direction we're trying to envision things in. And people going to the west, you cannot go to the west if the thing is moving north. You gotta have a counter energy to stop it. And once it is, then you can move it to the west. But I had so many people praying it for it to go straight to the west that never happened until later. So we got to understand how these things work. And the more we pray, then we begin to understand how the prayer works and how we can impact physical things in this world through our prayer. And that's what our kupuna did, you know. But there's many advantages also. Like you get these side perks. Did you know that by praying all the time, that it increases your personal ability to see? That ike papalua, to see beyond the physical. It increases your ability to envision and to become a visionary. And it opens up the access that you have to have those who are on the other side and in the other realms inspire visions for you or to you so that you see. That's why, you know, that simple chant that is so deep, e ho mai. It says, e ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e. Ike, what a power-packed word. Ike is to see. Ike is knowledge, but to see. So if you're getting from up above the ike, it means you get to see from up above too. It means that you get to gain another perspective. And when we say mai luna mai e, you know, of course, my thoughts go up to the heavens, to the gods, to those who I consider are of greater stature than we are. Spiritually, who have more, who are not limited by the physical body. But this is where that vision is coming from. This is where that knowledge is coming from. So e ho mai is not simply a chant for knowledge. And we all know that in Hawaiian things, there is a literal translation. There can be the intentional translation that it was originally done with. But because we have this wonderful language that has kauna and has so many layers to it, then it brings a whole another perspective on the meaning and understanding of that simple phrase. E ho mai ka ike mai luna mai ye. You know? And for us, everything was in the mele. So it's not only referring to hula mele, because our hula and our mele talked about all aspects of life. Everything from instructions of how to make love, to when to pound the poi, to acknowledging every aspect of life in the sea, to telling us about how somebody was so sad because their lover ran away, and all of those things. Life, every aspect of life is in our mele. If it's not a hula, then it's in a chant. And for those of us who speak and who still compose and who have taken on that challenge to olelo and to continue to enrich our language and to learn, that was one of my goals. I wanted to be able to hear a song in Hawaiian, one crack on the radio, and understand everything. I wanted to be able to compose in the language. I wanted to be able to understand kauna. And so academic study, I didn't have too much opportunity, but I learned on my own. And because of my pule to my kupuna, I learned a lot. And prayer is a tool that will help us. It will help us. You know, I used the term navigate loosely, and then I realized a couple weeks ago that I shouldn't use the word navigate because it has such a Western connotation. And I really like the word wayfinding, because we're all here to find our way. We're not all here to necessarily navigate. Yeah, when I think of navigation, I think of using tools and instruments and things like that. In wayfinding, you also have tools, but you have tools that go beyond the mechanical, physical compass that they use or the radios that they use. We have tools that transcend our physical world. And prayer is one of those. Prayer transcends. It transforms us. And it allows us to be in harmony. So I'm going to end with another pule. And this was, it's just a small part of a pule that Pilahi Paki wrote. And I learned this from her partner, her friend, Aunty A'ia'i Bello. And it has become very meaningful in my life. It's a stabilizing factor. And when Aunty A'ia'i taught it to me, she told me, make sure that if you teach this chant to your students, that they don't just chant it without knowing the meaning to each phrase. And so it says, Akahai in Hawaii. And Akahai is to be gentle, to be modest. Lo kahi a kulike. In order to kulike, we need to have some kind of harmony or unity. Olu olu kamanao. Good thoughts, pleasant thoughts. Our thoughts precede our actions and our behavior. And it's something that we control. Ha'a kokulana. Again, humility. Humility is such a necessary part of prayer. And then it says, aho nui ala nakila. Aho nui means the long rope or the long string, the aho. But it translates also, it's a similar word, a synonym to homanavanui, which is to have patience. And it goes on to say, aho nui ala nakila, that those who have the patience also have the victory. And then it says, alohae, alohae, alohae. And this brings us to the word aloha. Aloha is a sentiment. Aloha is a way of life. Aloha is a way of seeing the world. Aloha is love in every aspect. And aloha is also a vibration that brings light. So within aloha there is light. And that's why when I just hear it translated as the word love, you know, that word has been so overused and there's so many connotations of that. But aloha is not a single little word. It has so many components and so many aspects. And it's our motivation to pule. We pule because we aloha our aina. We pule because we aloha our ohana. We pule because we aloha ourselves. And sometimes even just saying those words in English, you know, we associate it with like, oh, vanity, love yourself. It's important to love ourselves. It's important to accept ourselves for who we are, with all of our gifts as well as our shortcomings. Because if they seem like a shortcoming, it's only so that in this lifetime we pay a little bit more attention so that we can turn it into a gift for the next time around. So I would like to end by chanting the chant, because there is a vibration that comes about when it is chanted that is not there when it is spoken. Mahalo. Ya oe e Aunty Lani, ya oe e Pilahi.